Morning, everybody. All right, we're going to just go right into questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a mic over to you eventually. Let's start front row on the right here with Nick. Just keep your hands up for me, please.
Hey, Ryan, what is going to be the message to Ty heading into this first game?
Just play ball. I think that Ty plays his best when he stays calm and collected, just like any quarterback. And I think as long as he stays within himself and doesn't try to make each play bigger than it is, he'll be just fine.
Front row left, let's go Chase. We got Mike coming for you. Go Chase and Colin.
In your career experience, how unusual is it to be the only assistant coach in the booth on game day like you're going to be this fall?
Well, I mean, I got other guys up there with me. It's pretty much the same setup I've done. I got guys, Mitch Tollins up there. He's been with me for 5 years up in the box, so he's got a good set of eyes. And then Tyler Hughes was with us in Washington, veteran coach as well. So I feel like it's pretty much the same setup.
Go ahead, Colin.
Ryan, I'm curious what kind of the same question with Ty, but your message to the running back room, obviously a guy down. Like, what have you seen in terms of the, approach that Richard Young, Daniel Hill, guys like that have taken ahead of this week?
Yeah, I think they've really, embraced the next man up mentality and, exactly what you expect out of a couple guys that have been here at Alabama for a couple years. So I don't think there's necessarily anything that's like earth-shattering that they're doing, but I think they're excited about the opportunity.
Back over front row on the right to Kennington.
Yeah, Florida State, new defensive coordinator and Tony White, but also several players from other places that might play a big role in that defense. What's that preparation process like when you have a new coordinator coming in, but also players from various parts of the country that might also be coming in and playing a role there as well?
Yeah, cool question. I think that been through this process a couple different times, at different stops, and certainly there's a lot of moving parts there. Coach White's a great coach. He's been a lot of different places, veteran guy. Has a lot of presence with his guys, and certainly is creative in his play calling. So you got to dig. You got to go back to Syracuse. You got to go all the way back and make sure that you're checking everything out and try to realize how they would utilize different people and personnel sets and put people in different spots and understand the structure and the history of the defense and how it applies to the people they have now. And you put together the best picture you can for the guys, prepare them, and understand that you got to have plays that can win versus multiple fronts and multiple coverages.
Go middle, second row, Katie.
When your offense is kind of being thrown into the fire for the first game, being a true road environment, just what's the value in having an experienced center like Parker?
Oh, it's everything, honestly. I think he brings calm to not only the offensive line unit, but just the guys that are looking to have more playing time potentially than they had in the past, including Ty. And just for the coaching staff, just understand there's a guy that's going to be able to calm the waters is really, really valuable.
Go front row, Tony.
Do you remember the last time you had a quarterback make his first start on a true road game? And is there anything that you do maybe differently to kind of get him a little bit ready or more prepared for that moment?
Let's see. Jorge Reyna in 19 at Fresno State. We went down to SC. He played a good football game. Didn't end up going our way, but I thought for a first-time start, he played well. It was the same message. I've had a couple other guys besides Jorge, but you just got to get the guy playing his game. You don't have to push into different throws that are outside of it. You just want him to get him to play within the structure of the offense and let the plays come to him instead of him trying to have to manufacture everything. Because I think you just tell quarterbacks, like there's going to be plays where off-platform throws, plays that aren't scripted that way that he's going to have to make a play. So you try to create an environment where there's enough structure for him to make the plays that are available and not make the easy ones look hard.
All the way in the back, Jonathan.
Yeah, Coach, just sticking with that road environment, how has the team responded to that crowd noise throughout the end of camp and I'm sure the start of practice here as you guys put it in, and how prepared do you think they are to take that on at Tallahassee?
Oh, they've done a great job. We put a lot of work into it in the last 2.5 weeks now, just working on the sound part. Obviously, those things always take time, and they've worked really hard. I think just like anything, when we first started, it wasn't perfect, and now we're doing it all our walkthroughs. We're doing every practice, so they'll be ready for it.
Okay, let's finish up with Charlie on the far right.
Yeah, Coach, just back to the offensive line. What have you seen from Gino at right guard, and how do you feel just about that first unit going into game one?
I'm confident. I think that they're in a good spot. There's a lot a lot of starts with the guys that are out there on the field. You know, obviously Wilkins, the guy that has the least playing experience, but the guys on the inside next to Parker, Gino and Dew, those guys have been there and done that. So I think that there's a calmness there that helps on the inside. And I think, again, Parker, you know, is the guy that can really bring it all together. He knows the guys that got to be, you know, amped up and the guys that got to be brought back down, and he can keep it level.
All right, thank you, Coach.
You bet. Thanks, everybody.
All right, back with Coach Womack. We'll have Coach make a brief opening statement, and we'll take some questions. Just leave your arms up, please.
All right, obviously, exciting time for us, our players, our coaches, our fan base, everybody involved with our football program. As you kind of make that transition from fall camp to the first opponent and first week, it's been a really good transition. You know, year two, our players know what to expect. We understand the standard better, and so that transition kind of into game prep mode has been really good. Looking forward to our opponent in Florida State. Have tremendous respect for Gus Malzahn, who I've known for a very long time. I've known Mike Norvell since I was a senior in college. In fact, met him at a coaches convention through Gus back in 2009. and think the world of him too, and he's done a tremendous job wherever he's gone. But certainly for us, very proud of our players and coaches and the work that they've put in the offseason and put us in position to go compete at a high level this season. So ready to hit the ground running this week. We got a lot of work to do still, but we're moving in a position to go execute on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Let's start on the right side here with Charlie.
Yeah, hey coach, just what have you seen and what do you think of Florida State's run game, and particularly a guy like Roy Dale, who a lot of the guys on your defense are familiar with?
Yeah. You know, obviously I don't know Roy Dale personally. The players know him and think highly of him, as well as you know, you look at a number of their running backs that I think they're excited about, and you know, they've got a number of guys that have had experience, be it there or at other places, that came via the transfer portal. Young guy, I think that they're pretty excited about out of the backfield as well. And so really, you know, they present a number of challenges. Gus always has, Mike always has in their offensive schemes, and they present a number of challenges to you formationally, motions, quarterback run, 1+ element, and then their ability to go tempo with their run game, you know, presents a number of challenges for us. And so those are things that we've been working and preparing for, and looking forward to, you know, putting the ball down and letting our guys go play.
Go to Colin on the left side.
Kind of in that same vein, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, turning pressures into, you know, production, sacks, tackles for loss, things like that.
Yeah.
What's the challenge of that, especially against a quarterback with the running capability of a guy like Tommy Castellano?
Yeah, I think, you know, when you look at their quarterback, I mean, in his body of work over the years, he's hard to get down, you know, very shifty player. He can run, he's elusive in the pocket, he's got really good pocket awareness, his escapability is kind of all over the place, and so, you know, kind of hard to pin down in that regard. So those are, you know, I would say we'll have our work cut out for us. It'll be as challenging probably as we have had from a standpoint of creating negative plays on the quarterback in the backfield. So something that we're, you know, challenging our players. We work tackling year-round. We're in a good position right now, tackling as a defense, but until you put the ball down against another opponent, you don't know for sure.
Going to the far left, Brian.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you about the defensive line, but also James Smith. We were out at media viewing period last Tuesday, and looked like he was moving around pretty good. What was his progress throughout the week?
Yeah, really excited about James and what he's done. You know, James is such an explosive player. He creates havoc. You know, you saw that even in the bowl game when he, you know, was able to generate a lot of negative plays, and I think he's done that, you know, here in fall camp. And so excited. You know, he was tweaked up just a little bit early on in fall camp and has been good the last 2 weeks here, and is in a really good position going into to game week. So excited about him, excited for the opportunity. It's fun, you know, I've mentioned this to you guys before, but it's fun watching some of these younger players that I've been here with over the last 18 months mature into young men that are accountable, that are detailed, that have habits that are more in line with what, you know, a young professional, right, a young player that does things at a high professional level. And I think James has just been really enjoyable watching him grow and mature as a young man.
Jumping over opposite side here, Nick.
Yeah, a guy that I don't believe he played against you last year, but Squirrel White at Tennessee. What do you see him bringing to this Florida State offense?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously we've watched Squirrel a good bit in his time at Tennessee, and you know, shifty player, has some real speed, can do a number of things, and I think, you know, looking at Gus and his system and Mike and what they have done with players kind of in that same personnel mold, I would imagine there's a number of things that they could do with him and some other guys that we anticipate on the field. And so to me, right, you're trying to anticipate, right, based upon a body of work from Gus and Mike and what these players have done from a personnel standpoint, be it wherever they came from, and try to get a feel for what they're going to do. But certainly I just think his athleticism and speed and quickness are going to, you know, allow them to be able to do multiple things with him.
Staying in the front row, let's go to Tony right in the middle.
Unlike Kalen and Ryan, I think you've got more of a recent experience opening up on the road. What do you remember about the challenges of that, and just kind of how do you approach that?
Well, I think like anything, you know, you put the ball down and you prepare your guys to go execute regardless of environment, and that's what we talk quite about. You know, it's not the noise, it's not home, it's not the road, it's not all the different variables. It's just about the work. It's about the execution. It's about doing your job at such a high level that all the external variables are removed and you just do your job for that one play like it's the most important snap of the game. And then can you do that consistently over and over and over again? And those are the things that I think our coaches have done a really good job. I think Kalen does a tremendous job of just keeping the main thing for our players so that they can execute when it matters most. And I think that's what, you know, we're preparing them to do.
Go to Katie, middle, second row.
You talked about in your opening that going into year two, guys understand the standard better that they're supposed to play at. Just kind of where do you feel like going into year two, confidence-wise in this defense compared to where you were maybe at this time last year?
Well, I know a lot more of the variables. You know, I know our coaches better. We understand each other better, right? There's a gel that's, you know, that has to take place in a coaching staff. And I feel like we're in as great of a place as I've been. I think we're a close-knit group on defense as a coaching staff. I think our players see that, and I think that's reflected in the work and the energy that you see and feel at practice defensively. And I think, you know, understanding our players better gives us as a defensive staff the best opportunity to put them in the right positions. And so we understand ourselves better, we understand our players better, and then certainly from an opponent standpoint, if you look at the majority of the season, there's a lot of common opponents. This one, not necessarily so, but I think there's similarities in some of the things that we feel like we're going to see throughout the year, that just a better understanding and grasp of what we're doing. So those are the fun things about going into year two and being prepared, and kind of having that gel and understanding. You feel that team chemistry right now defensively.
Go Kennington, first row.
You've spoken a lot about the idea that whoever can meet this threshold will get a chance to play no matter, you know, what position or what age they are. In regards to the Wolf position, how many of those guys do you feel comfortable going out there and playing up to that standard?
Yeah, I think we've got a number of guys, as we've talked about before, that can go in and play for us. You know, obviously you've got experienced players in Quay Rousseau and Zebo Latham. Yanze Pierre has done some tremendous things, and I've seen a lot of growth and maturity from him. But then also some younger players, right, like Justin Hill and Noah Carter are doing some great things. It's about building more consistency in their game, right? So they flash, but, you know, how consistent can they become that you feel confident that they can go out on any given play, any given down, and go execute at a high level? And those are the things that they'll continue to push in that regard. But I would say those guys are on the right trajectory right now.
Go to Alex in the back row.
Had a lot of reps to get to this point. You can simulate things all you want, but it changes on Saturday.
Yeah.
What are the lingering questions, one or two questions you have in your mind that you want to see, you're anxious to see answered at Florida State?
Well, I think, you know, we talk to the players about this all the time. Game day is different, and it always is, it always has been, and always will be. And that's exciting. That's what makes the game so special, right? Ball gets put down in front of a group of fans, home, on the road, all the work that you've done, playing each other, preparing walkthroughs, scout teams, and then ultimately, right, you got to go execute in the moment. And I think I'm excited to see how our players will handle that. We have some players that have tremendous experience in terms of playing in big environments and crowds. You've got other guys that have limited experience, and you're going to have some guys that have none from a college standpoint that are going to play in the game for us. And so how they handle the environment, how they handle the opportunity at hand, is something that I'm looking forward to seeing. And then I think you always, from a defensive standpoint, early in the season, you want to see how well you tackle, you know, especially when you're looking at a running offense with a quarterback that you know, can create and generate explosive plays with his feet, and he can extend plays with his feet. That's something that, you know, ultimately we got to put the ball down and go play.
And we'll finish up with Joe, second row in the middle.
Coach, kind of building off a lot of these, with the depth and experience that you've built over the last 2 years, how comfortable are you deviating from the standard 4-2-5?
I'm confused by your question a little bit. When you say deviating from the standard of 4-2, you're saying like what other personnel groupings? Okay, I'm sorry. When you look at the experience that we have and some of the things that we feel like we can put ourselves in the best chance personnel-wise to get the right people on the field at the right time, year 2 allows you to be able to do more things, certainly. And so there's some things that we will have geared up and prepared for that not necessarily maybe anything new that we didn't show last season, just being able to expand off of those packages, right, is probably the biggest advantage you have in year 2 than you had in year 1. So,
Thank you, Coach.
all right, thanks, guys. Roll Tide.
All right, we'll have Coach DeBoer make his opening statement, and then we'll take questions. Coach, whenever you're ready.
Got you crunched in here a little bit more, huh? Didn't know if that would deter you away. I guess you hadn't had a chance to see what it looked like. But good morning, and I know you guys got a chance to meet with the coordinators, but it's game week, and it's a great feeling for everyone, right? You guys included, and so excited about this last week of preparation. Guys, I think are in a good spot. We continue to have those dings continue to be healed up here nicely last week, and so getting, like I said, time to play, see where we're at, and I think this team that we got here going on the road, be a great test with Florida State. We know that from the coaching staff, head coach Coach Norvell and 2 new coordinators, been a lot of film for us to pour through. We know that they've done a great job over their careers individually and now collectively. Know that we're going to face a good test here this weekend. So, a lot of work putting into that last week. We'll continue to do that. And proud of our staff, proud of our team on all the focus that they've had just on keeping the main thing, and really taking it one day at a time. And I think there comes a point now where you do have to start thinking, because we are so focused on the moment, that time now is coming, and this week should feel different.
Thanks, Coach. Let's start with Nick here on the far right.
Yeah, other than Jam, do you expect anyone else to miss this game because of an injury?
I would say Jaden Roberts, still in question, just with what he's going through in the protocol and the process there. So he's progressing, so we'll kind of see here.
Going with Charlie on the second row.
Just kind of piggybacking off that, what have you seen from that first team offensive line, especially Gino kind of stepping in for Jaden?
Yeah, you know, and Gino was here a year ago, was battling, and we threw him out there in, you know, a couple series a game, and he would do a great job. And, you know, I've referred to him as Swiss Army knife guy, can go out there and do a lot of things, so he's really valuable to us. And, you know, really a lot of confidence, not just by me, but I know everyone out there offensively believes in him, and, you know, he's done a nice job. So, you know, really feel like you skip a beat at all. And he, you know, he was in there competing for that spot in the first place, you know, all along the way. So, you know, he loves us. He, you know, there's an energy that Gino, as you get to know him, that you really appreciate. And I think he adds that to our offensive line, you know, in his own way.
Okay, so left side here to Chase.
Ryan Grubb being the only assistant coach in the booth for game days this year. I think there were only 2 last year. Can you just speak to your preference for having most of your staff on the field?
Trying to think. Last year we had Sheridan up there. Right. Anyone else?
I think Hitzler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant just offensively. I mean, you know, the world we're in now, where you have some really high-end quality offensive analysts, defensive analysts that you really trust, and there's a number of guys that will be up in the booth with those, you know, that really have worked together with these coaches a long time. I mean, Grubb in particular, you know, you got Mitch Dolan and Tyler Hughes, you know, not just Coach Grubb, Ryan Grubb working with him, but myself as well. And so a lot of trust that you just have, and I think being on the field with our players is an important piece, and as long as we're getting the information we need from up top, that's important. I think the other element that gets added to this that changed a year ago is the iPads, and we can see everything on the field. You know, I can see it all on the field. Maybe not in that moment, but we can understand, you know, why something happened, good, bad, ugly, whatever it might be, and we can make those adjustments by seeing on video as good as anyone, because that's got both views, the wide and the end zone shot. So we can make those adjustments on the field with our guys, and I think that's important for our coaches to be there with our guys, which is why you see more of the coaches on the football field.
Go to Katie, second row in the middle.
When you're breaking in a new quarterback, some new players along the offensive line on the road in the first game, what's the benefit to having an experienced guy like Parker at center?
Yeah, you know, and I mean, Ty, I understand this is his first game, but you know, just with how long he's been in college, and you know, he's got, you know, a few games under his belt in different ways, but you know, it doesn't feel like I mean, maybe it feels that way for him, but I got a lot of confidence in him and just his emotional maturity and where he's at there to be able to take this in stride and it not be something that's overwhelming to him. So, you know, but as you referenced with Parker, just those 2 guys working hand in hand, being team captains, and the energy, or just the way that they kind of infuse energy into our team, but also do it in their own way where they can stay calm themselves. You feel very confident in what that's going to look like on game day with Parker running the show, and you know, Ty there, you know, hand in hand with him.
Go to the back of the room, Mike.
For the team in general, just what are some of the points of emphasis going on the road this year where you can improve upon last year?
Just, I think starting fast, right? You got to start fast. You dig yourself a hole on the road. It gets hard. The crowd gets behind the home team, and you know, that comes down to execution, which comes down to preparation and the work that's happening on the football field. You know, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's the same old thing, but you know, starting fast and giving yourself, you know, not that you don't have the belief, but like another level of like momentum, you know, and so. And as much as anything, taking it away from them, especially in an environment that we know is going to be a good one down there in Tallahassee.
Front row on the left, Colin.
Hey, Kalen, I know that we've talked with Kane a little bit about this, but what have you seen from a guy like Dijon Lee, kind of coming in, being, you know, I mean, Kane called him, we see him as a starter. I'm curious about how you've seen him kind of grow over the course of the last few months to kind of put himself in that position.
Yeah, I mean, when that comment right there, I guess the way I'm hearing it is how I'd feel like you have no problem putting him out there on the football field. And there's a maturity, use that with Ty and Parker and our team, but there's a maturity that a freshman has, and I felt like Xavier Brown had that last year, and there's other guys too, but to specifically focus on Dijon, he's had that even just when he doesn't even know what he doesn't know in spring ball. There's something about his presence and just the way he is, and it's not about being as tall or anything. It's just about the confidence to go out there and play, and I know that's all part of it. You got to have the skill set, and he's just done a great job being consistent from the first day he got here, winter workouts to where we're at today, and you keep throwing more and more on his plate, and he rises to the occasion. So you feel very comfortable putting him out there on the football field.
Front row on the right, Tony.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but the last time you were on a team or coaching a team that was starting on the road was Southern Illinois in 2013. Do you even remember that game? And what do you draw on, I guess, from past experience to get your players ready for, getting a road environment right off the bat?
Eastern Illinois. Did we play Eastern Illinois? Who did we play? Oh, Illinois. Okay, I was the year before we played at Eastern Illinois, maybe. So, yeah, I was trying to think back. What was your just kind of what the question? What are you looking for?
Oh yeah, just do you draw back on anything?
Yeah,
from either playing experience
that was so. Yeah, it's been so long. I think you just go back to any big road games that you play, and this one being the first game of the season, the first one's always big. It's always the biggest because it's the next one, and then I think just getting the season off to a good start, that's important. That makes it big. So in all these ways, I think what it does is it gives you an urgency during fall camp. Playing these games like this, kind of. Just kept, I think, the focus of fall camp at a high level, knowing that, you got to be at your best because your opponent is, and we know they got a lot that they want to prove. They're going to, want to open up their season in a big way. So, again, I think the guys have done a great job of just focusing on us, focusing on what we can control, being in the moment. I know those are cliches, but I think these guys have really done a good job.
Go to Jamie, back row in the middle of the room.
Hey, Coach, going into year 2, what changes have you noticed, whether from leadership or locker room culture, have you noticed that gives you the confidence that this team can handle the big moments this season?
I think consistency in practice, consistency with how guys handle each other when maybe there's a moment that doesn't go as well. And it doesn't even have to be on the practice field. It can be anything. And then just accountability to each other. If there's something that's just not to the level that they know, it doesn't mean that someone did something wrong. I'm talking about at the level, and making that guys that are new to the program understand what that level should be. There's just a great investment that you see, and that leads to the consistency that I'm talking about. And, there was maybe a practice where there's more on their plate and school starting and things like that, just you could feel it was different, that, they needed to get out of there because they had to get to class, and that feels different because the guys are always putting in extra work on their own after practice. But in the end, I really feel like these guys, their investment's been at extremely high level. And if there was a rep or two in practice that didn't go their way, those individuals that group together, I missed a pass, they're going to put in the extra work and get that pass right after practice. And so, these guys want it. They want it. And the actions have supported, the work that it's supported through the work they've put in to reach their goals.
Let's finish up with Kennington on the front right here.
In regards to the offensive line, I know you mentioned Gino, as a potential to replace Jaden. Is there anybody else in the depth part of the offensive line that earned their way to being considered for rotational snaps on Saturday?
Nothing probably to the extent that we had a year ago, where we were very intentional. Gino, and then at right tackle, kind of rotating there too. So nothing to that level right now. Doesn't mean we don't feel comfortable putting some guys out there, but especially with this group, I'd like to get out there and generate some continuity, some momentum. I remember last year, the first play of the game, I think Parker's helmet flew off. Proctor got hurt in pregame. So by the second play of the game, we had 2 new faces on. So hopefully we got a little better luck here this year when it comes to that. So But yeah, no, you know, I think that's you know, kind of the unit and the group that we'd like to have out there, you know, most of the snaps. Doesn't mean that a guy here and there might float out there for one series, but it's not something as intentional as we were a year ago.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Real tight.